Creep.
Horror deconstruction.
Willkommen on Horror Deconstruction! With your hosts, Alex.
Caraway seeds.
And
Yeah.
today's film is 1997's The Burning Moon.
I really love the way you say is.
Directed by, I know I try to do that. I try to do something that people will like.
Is.
It's direct. It's because I have a horrible. Okay.
It's like
Like he's
Christopher Walken.
constipated or
Oh
like
my
things
god.
that they put in his butt the moment he says the word.
Directed by Olaf Ittenbach. In 1997, The Burning Moon centers on two bedtime stories that a delinquent brother reads his kid sister. These disturbingly morbid stories focus on a serial killing blind date and a murderous ... Oh, I should have put full summary.
Psychotic priest.
Can I just say that the brother reminds me so much of like a little leprechaun troll?
Brother? You know, he looks like one of the Tim and Eric guys.
Yeah, he does actually.
He's too silly. I can't take him seriously with
and
his
what's
earrings and that plump face of his.
Just the one earring. Hello.
He's
The
like
what?
a,
What,
he's
is
like
it on
a
his left
woman.
ear or right ear? Remember that means if you're gay
It's
or
on
not?
his left.
Okay. Oh, does
He's
that
like
make he's
a
gay or was
woman.
it the
I don't
right
know what
ear?
that means.
I think the
So
right
weird.
ear means you're gay
It's,
back then.
it's just some
Yeah.
stupid thing that they created in our country for no reason.
I used to have earrings. I used to have earrings when I was younger, and my dad would make. He only saw it on one ear when I was younger, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, it's on both ears. You're
It's
double
really
gay."
stupid. I don't know who makes these rules.
Yeah. I
The
don't
rule
know.
makers, bro. So it's funny enough. The director Olaf Itzenbach plays Peter, the main character. So the director's playing.
Does
his-
he?
He's
He-
doing the Adam Wingard thing.
Wait, he's that
Jesus.
Oompa Loompa creature?
Yeah, he's the main guy.
Really?
Yes. So
Earring.
let's go into this amazing wraparound story that is Peter's
I'm
descent
just
into madness.
gonna say right here, I couldn't even focus on this movie. My mind was unable to grasp it. I can't even tell you what it was about. Like, I don't even know. And also, the subtitles were all screwed up on my thing, so it was like.
But wasn't it on
parts where
YouTube?
No
So
one was
it's-
talking.
It's on
It was
YouTube.
talking.
So it's funny. I downloaded it, but then I saw that it had no subtitles on mine. It was only for the YouTube. So the film has a ne'er do well called Peter, who is a scumbag drug user.
Who looks like an Oompa Loompa.
Why
Well,
they're
he
giving
used to get a job.
why they're giving us this whole big backstory on him is no
I don't
point.
know.
It's the wraparound film, but I still think it's better than the.
They want you to feel.
I think they're
VHS
trying
one.
to justify what happens at the very end.
Yes,
Maybe?
they're trying to set up his character. So he's kind of
Yeah.
he's this chubby
He's
kid
a
with
dick.
an earring. He has a unibrow. He's a real dickhead character. So if the
No,
guy's
he's
not,
punk, man. He's punk.
if
He
he's
gets
not,
involved in a showdown between two gangs.
that was the best.
A really badass showdown. I'd seen there was better fighting in the Anchorman movie.
So it's these 7 German guys fighting other 7 German guys. First of all,
Called The Rats.
let's set up that amazing story. So this film is basically an anthology film with 2 stories and the main wraparound story. And this guy Peter is this druggy kid who's they're showing him trying to get a job interview, and then he's.
But he
It's-
doesn't really give a shit.
It's almost like if
I
you
like how
watch
the
this.
guy keeps entertaining the interview.
Yeah,
even
right.
Though it's so
He's like,
clearly.
Maggie.
So, he's like, you can't smoke in here, also.
He's like, Maggie, bring in the coffee. He's like that. And like Peter's there sitting, being a fucking twat to the guy, and it's like he's really entertaining this. And I like the last part when Peter leaves, and the guy picks up the resume and just flops it down
So he's
for no
shaking his
reason.
head.
And his best friend, Danny, kind of looks like the best friend.
Kids these days.
Danny does kind of look like the best friend.
You know?
Yeah.
And they
As long as I don't look like the fucking troll guy, then I'm okay
this,
with that.
This movie was made in 1997, and like they got the ripped jeans. This is, I guess, in Germany.
When was it made?
1997.
97.
So
Wow.
this is how I guess Germany looked in '97. Just a couple of. If the
If they
director's
had waited
not,
one more year, the quality could have been so much better, maybe.
if the director wasn't
Not
such
really.
a if the director's not really a douche twat like this character is, then I'll give him points for that's pretty good acting. He's playing a complete twat that you want dead within the first 5 minutes of the film, first 30
You get
seconds
it.
of the film. and he's driving off with his friend, and then they have this big gang fight. It was the fucking worst. Like, what did you say? You said it looked like a children's
It looked
play.
like they were like hitting each other with like Nerf balls or something.
You said it looked like a child's play. It was a. They had,
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
bad.
Like, yeah, I'm
It
gonna
was
get
like
you.
Warden Gentle's
It was
reenaction
like-
in
it was worse than the
Arrested
scene
Development
from,
or
like,
something.
the Michael
Imagine if they
Jackson
took.
video.
What's
It was
that?
bad.
Imagine
It
if
was
they
like
took.
what?
Go ahead, Thea. What was that again? You said.
Michael Jackson has a video where
I
he
thought
does
about to
a
beat it.
fucking,
Beat it. Oh
like,
no, it's not beat it.
team
Yeah, beat it.
showdown. Yeah, beat it, and it is worse than that. It is much worse than that.
It reminds me of like the gangs of New York if they had no money in the back, like the first 10 minutes of gangs
And they
of New
were
York,
all
a
in
gang
like
fight.
Valium or something.
Yeah, so it's like 7 or so. They have one token girl with a pink sweater on with
On
them
each
for some
side.
reason.
There's a girl on each side,
It's so they
Yeah.
equal sexual rights. There's one guy.
just so that the girls can fight each other.
These guys are waiting in the darkness,
See,
and they're like,
this was during the rise of feminism. They wanted to show
Right.
that women could be in
And this-
horrible
They
gang
made
fights
sure that
too.
there's a girl on each side.
this other group comes in, and this guy has a cool butterfly knife, and he's flipping it around. But the fight is so amazingly awful. You can find the film on YouTube because this movie is incredibly rare to find. Olaf Ittenbach has kind of grown in the underground horror scene, and he's done a lot of gory horror films. I've only seen like I don't really watch his movies, but
This is
I
the
watch.
first I've seen.
I watch really the gory parts of his films because they're like really the gore in his new films are really good comparatively to obviously anything is probably better than
I
what
would
the
hope
fuck he
so
did with
because
this.
I don't understand how he could be any kind of guy in this industry with this movie.
Yeah, there's
This is
it's
terrible.
Germany, so maybe Germany they didn't really give a fuck. They're like, put it ahead. Oh
This
man,
is
I don't know
just
what I'm
like-
thinking.
Well, for 1992, I mean,
97,
the gore that he's
babe.
doing isn't totally
97,
bad.
97. So maybe it's a little bit worse.
Well,
Just
the
the overall
YouTube
There's-
video says 1992.
Oh, really?
This is worse than
Okay, sorry.
Rabid Granny quality of film.
I don't know.
That's
Rabbit
so
Granny was
much.
pretty fucking terrible. On IMDb
No,
it
but
says
the
97.
quality, I'm saying,
so-
it's like so pixelated and
Oh,
so...
right.
Should I watch Rabid Granny?
No.
Yeah, go watch it. If I had to suffer through that bullshit, then go ahead. So you can listen to our episode.
It's really
Okay.
not even good enough to laugh at.
Nah, it's
just-
really bad. To me, it's the worst one that we've ever seen. But Danny
Like, that's
thinks
how I
Killjoy
really
too.
know I hate a movie. If it's so... Like, even Killjoy 2, I can laugh at how bad it is.
Mhm, mhm.
This
I'm
is
sorry. Did
not
you ever
even-
see fucking what was it? It was Mr. like Jeepers or something, and it was a clown movie. It was the
Jeepers.
fucking worst thing I've ever seen ever.
You know what
I'll have
episode
to
we
see
should
it
do?
now.
We should do Clown House.
Don't see it. Don't.
We should
If
do
you
a
ever
clown.
just don't.
We're gonna
see
do
it.
we're gonna do Clown House one day, which was directed by Victor Salva, the child molester who did Jeepers Creepers.
Oh god.
I
Oh
saw
my
a movie
God, that
called-
movie.
I think it was called Mom, and it was the
Oh,
worst.
you said that right? Yeah, you said it was pretty bad.
You have to review
Yeah.
that.
Oh god.
Anyway, so yeah, it starts out with a gang fight. I guess we're just trying to get into Peter's head that he's a piece of garbage. There's a guy who
Peter
does.
is a sack of shit.
There's
And
a guy who does
and
a-
He goes to his little sister.
Wait, but there's a
like,
guy who does a half a spin kick in the gang
I
fight.
just shot
Just go ahead.
heroin, and I'm gonna tell you some bedtime stories.
Yeah, but how bad are the parents? They let their fucking.
What's with them? I don't
They
understand.
leave
I
their
don't
little
know.
precocious, cute,
If I was
what,
that dad, I
10-year-old
would've
daughter?
punched that kid right in the face and ripped
I
his
would be
fucking
like,
ear
we're
out.
gonna get you to leave the house, and then we'll hire a babysitter to come watch.
They leave
this.
it with their junky fucking crack smoking son, and he has these big circles
God.
under his eyes, and he's saying "fuck you" in English. He's like "fucking yo." He's like that. He's beating up the mom, and they're like, yeah, "Okay, take care of our daughter." The father fucking throws
He's
him through
really
a wall and
beating
shit.
the mom.
And the mom, he hits the mom, and then like 2 seconds later, the mom's like totally normal acting.
I love how the father. They should have just had 2 hours of the father kicking his ass. This guy with this big German mustache. He's like, ich bin Ivan. He's like fucking him up.
This is how I feel about this entire movie. Every single scene, it's as if the actors didn't realize for the first split second or two that they were filming the scene. And like then they like realize, oh
Okay.
yeah, and then they say their line or something. Every scene.
I've ever seen.
So the asshole parents leave Peter in charge of the daughter because they're fucking
Whose
morons.
name we never learn.
Yeah, right. She's just like disposable. So he decides to shoot up some heroin, and he looks at the moon, and you get to. It's
and it's on fire.
It's a soccer ball that they painted white and put a
Yeah.
plant in front of him so it looks like a tree in the distance.
Wait, that was supposed to be the moon?
What did you think it was?
They show the moon.
It's called the
10
burning moon,
seconds
Danny, and it
earlier.
burns.
Well, they
Yeah.
should know, like the part where it goes out in that light and then it goes out of the mouth. That's the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just-
I didn't even like. It was so bad.
The movie's
I
called
didn't
The
even
Burning
know
Moon,
it was the
then.
moon.
so anyway, it's the burning moon because he's high, and then he decides to go to his. Maybe he has a little flashback when he's a kid, and his father tells him not to hang out. Who the fuck knows? He decides to go to his little sister and tell her a couple of scary stories, and the first one is about. Thea?
Julia's Love, which is about a girl named Julia who goes on a date with a
Psychopath.
recently escaped psychotic serial killer.
Isn't there a movie called Julia and Julia about a cooking show woman?
There is.
Oh yes,
If
yeah.
only this were closer to that.
So yeah, what if starts out with
This
his,
is a deleted scene.
it's a breakout from a psych ward, and this guy who has cleanly shaved legs, who's in a psych ward, and he
No, I was
smashed.
confused by that too, actually.
He smashes this lady's head into like these doctors. There's one doctor, the female doctor, of course.
They have
I'm
a
sure.
really unnecessarily long intro
Yeah,
to his like.
I wonder if the writer made
Yeah,
the
and
female.
talking about how he's intelligent and
I
stuff
wonder-
like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if the writer was on purpose made the female the one that took him off his drugs. This maniac
Yeah.
who killed prostitutes.
They were like, "Fuck that chick."
Yeah, right. And the male doctor's like Scheisse, muta, and he's talking all this shit about why'd you take him off the drugs? As he says Scheisse, which means shit.
Were some of the things dubbed over English?
It's
Because
really
I feel
bad.
like they're not saying their lines.
No, everything is dubbed. It's almost like I
Yeah.
learned the thing of
That's what I'm
why
saying. They don't realize the scene started.
the sound guy was somewhere else eating schnitzel somewhere. But apparently, like it's kind of like Italy, where like you know how Argento film. There's an Argento hero in this movie, like nobody's business, Julia. But anyway, they in the old Italian horror films, like Argento films, they never recorded with sound because of spy shit or something. I remember hearing, and that's why all those Argento films are dubbed badly. So apparently in this one, it's dubbed. I guess he must have had really shitty sound when he first did it because it's all dubbed. It's really
Hey,
poorly
it
dubbed
matches
German.
the quality of the film.
I guess you're right. You know what? Nah, who am I to say? So anyway, this first story is about this serial killer, psychopath that breaks out the thing. I want to talk about the first kill in that scene. Beside the third kill, the car scene. It's amazing. It's like Johnny Cage from Mortal
I'm like
Kombat.
choking to death right now.
This guy gets out of his car. He has a great trench coat with a hat on.
Just hanging out. Why not?
He parks in the middle of the fucking street and then he gets hit by a car. It's one of the worst special effects I've ever seen in my life. Getting hit by a car is so
It's beautiful.
horrendous.
It just like it looks like it's only going like 10 miles an hour, and it just like slowly drags the body. Like it's so slow.
So then the killer takes his car. What happens right after that? We're introduced to Julia. Thea, can you as a woman explain what the fuck Julia is and how she's an Argento hero?
I mean, I guess she's an Argento hero because she's completely oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can assume, because she literally goes on this blind date. She finds out that the dude she's on the date with is a fucking psychotic killer from a mental ward, and she just goes home.
She doesn't
hangs
call the
out for a
cops.
while.
Yeah, she doesn't call the cops or anything.
She just goes home, and she's like, whatever, it's all good. I'm not gonna tell anybody
what?
what happened. I'm
The
just gonna
movie
hang
was so
out.
bad I didn't even consider
I just
it. But yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not assuming there's gonna be logic, but I also was like, there is no
But
logic.
there is a leap of weird logic in that
You would think she
idea.
would
Yeah, and
report that
then
she found the
eventually
killer.
she's like, oh, I'm gonna tell them.
She doesn't
But
give a
by that
shit.
time, they're all dead. So
She doesn't give a shit that she missed her wallet in the car until later. Then she goes,
no,
"Oh,
it takes
whoops."
her fucking forever to figure that out.
She was in a car of a guy she heard on the fucking radio. He's
He's
a
a
killer,
serial-
and she just goes
She's to
home.
a
She goes,
psychotic
I'll forget about it.
hospital.
She's all, knock that dirt off my shoulder.
And
Man,
she's like, whatever, it's all good.
There's-
I don't have to worry about that.
I think Olaf wanted to put scene. I feel like I'm talking about a Viking directing this. But there's a whole scene where she meets her two friends to talk about bullshit, that she's dating a new guy because she has this other ex-boyfriend who keeps calling her and little tells him to leave her alone. And they're like, who the fuck cares? I don't want to see her talk to her friends. Fuck
No,
her
you know
friends.
what my favorite part about that scene is?
What?
She arrives for like 4
Yeah.
seconds and she's like, I'm gonna meet this dude. oh yeah, there was this other dude that was crazy. Oh, I'm leaving now.
That's
She's there
it.
for like
She
30
leaves.
seconds, and she's gone.
Maybe in Germany people have different hangout regiments.
I mean, I guess you only hang out.
Friends drive to each other's house,
And you're
hang
like,
out for 30 seconds,
That's
and then
it.
leave.
Are you coming over, Fritz? Yeah, sure. For like 4
I
seconds,
was
and they
like,
just
why
leave.
are you even showing up?
They come
Don't
over,
know.
he answers the door, they shake hands, and then
And
they
they leave. But yeah, so the psychopath gets upset that Julia leaves, but
They ring the doorbell, and he opens the door, and without even saying hello, they just turn around and leave.
they have to keep it very prompt, everything in their life.
Basically how it goes.
Tell me about. Remember, I warned you about the windshield scene, Thea. What happens in that scene? It's so bad.
I didn't even I was watching and I didn't even think of windshield when I saw it because I was thinking of decapitated head mostly.
Yeah, the psychopath. He's like a handsome young guy. He reminded me of the Funny Games kind of guy. You know, very handsome.
Yeah, a
looking
little
guy.
bit.
So he decapitates this was it a prostitute or just a woman? I forget. So he chops her.
Prostitute.
I didn't realize that there was a windshield involved with that either. I thought it was just a prostitute and I was going to stab her or something.
He cuts her head off and he rolls open his sunroof. That's how old this movie is. He throws her, and it's funny because you think about like
He has a hand crank.
how heavy, yeah, right? I was thinking of being an ejector seat in there too. How heavy you think a human head is? Like 5-10 pounds or something like that? I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be like 8 pounds or something.
Yeah, he lifts it up like it's nothing and he tosses
He's
it out
like,
the
fuck
window.
it, just throw
Because
it.
there's a guy behind them who will play into the film later, or that story later, and head hits his windshield, and he goes, "Ach du lieber!" He's like really all frightened and shit. The guy drives off. The guy had the chance to probably
How much
drive.
are kilograms to pounds, Thea? You know this.
I have no idea. Why am I supposed to know this?
Let's
Don't
go.
they do kilograms and shit? And
No, yeah, but I don't do conversions because I don't give a shit about your mass.
you know what? Oh, it's 5 1/4 pounds is how much the head weighs.
You
Alright.
looked that up.
Let's talk about
Yeah, of course I looked it. I'm not denying it.
Let's talk about the massacre at Julia's house. Is that her grandmother or her? Because that's an
Her
old lady.
mother, I think.
Wow, she's looking pretty old, and her father's like the.
Barely.
Oh wait, now it's saying 10 to 12 pounds for an adult human head.
And he's
Oh, he
doing
did
mouth.
finally look it up. That's good.
I looked it up both times.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So let's get into the massacre at Julia's house. Danny?
Oh god, I didn't even like follow what was happening. I'm just being honest.
Okay, Thea.
I had no interest in this.
There's an
movie.
old lady cooking there. It's funny because they're what the father is like in the living room watching a TV. I think they rented.
Yeah.
I think they rented an ambulance for the movie, and they try to get as much out of it as possible.
Uh-huh.
Because
And they try
they're
to convert
watching.
it into each room.
They're watching a movie about an EMT rescue for some reason.
Yeah.
There's her sister, I assume, her father, I assume, and her mother or her
Her
grandmother.
mother/grandmother.
Yeah, super grandmother.
Yeah.
And what happens to the grandmother, Thea?
Well, they start with a grandmother in the kitchen, and she gets her fingers cut off in butter for some reason. I don't really know why. And then she just gets massacred in the kitchen, which is where she belongs.
My
agree with that.
personal favorite is the father who gets his hand cut off while he's eating lunch or whatever the fuck he's eating,
Which is
schnitzel.
also where he belongs.
Oh god, and he gets a like a huge machete out of his mouth, right into his mouth and half of his face, and that's what kills him. Even though that didn't look like a wound that would kill somebody. Maybe he died of shock.
There's a lot of like, this should have killed this person, but it didn't. In this
Yeah.
movie, I feel like.
And there's a lot of the opposite too. I feel like where it's like the gun makes this like
This shouldn't have killed
pop.
this person, but it did.
No, but it seems like that's such a weak gunshot.
The gun had like
Yeah.
Chinese firecrackers in it for some
Yeah,
reason.
right.
Like-
Not even.
Yeah.
It sounded
It's like
like those
pop.
little white sperm-looking things that you throw at the ground and they pop.
Oh, right, snaps when you throw
Yeah,
them
yeah.
they pop. And the sister, I don't even know how long the psychopath had. It was maybe 30
The
seconds.
sister
and
lasts for like 5 minutes longer than she should.
and she's like a roasting corpse. Like she's been dead for
I was
5
like,
years.
how are you still alive? And then after that, I don't understand.
And then Julia's
And I
ex-
don't understand, like, his grandpa killed his mom or something, so he's like
Yeah.
gonna do this? What is-
I was like, didn't he also kill his?
The grandfather, he's having flashbacks to when he was young and his grandfather massacred his family because that's the whole
But
reason
then
why
did
he's
he
nuts.
not kill them? Because they said he did, didn't they?
I assume he killed his grandfather. That's how he probably got out. They never show it though. But the grandfather's like, "You're next!" Like he's yelling in German, and then he's like,
That's
"No,
what
grandpapa,
that
no!
movie is gonna be about.
Nine!
You're next, or what is it called?
You're next."
Okay.
So, great job. So then, her ex-boyfriend is a psychopath who has keys to the house. How did he's jangling the keys to get in? You notice that? He gets his head blown off.
He does have keys.
Oh no, he gets decapitated. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean it's just a slasher film, and you want to go the big twisto ending, Theo? The
No.
the cop character who had the head thrown on his car. I guess I explained it anyway. It's
Yeah, the head thrown on the car earlier on ends up being the car of a cop who
Yeah.
shows up dramatically at
After everybody else
Julia's
is dead.
house.
After
Now, why
everybody's
did you
dead.
throw a head at a car?
This
He
is
did
a
it,
psychopath.
and he did
Danny.
it well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe the shaved legs made him go nuts. But yeah, there's a whole thing where Julie gets knocked out, and she has a whole sequence of her dreaming about running through a field in a dress.
Okay, my favorite part of that story was there was a montage
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
Julia being in love with him,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that
also
was
there was
awesome.
an insert of like a German Shepherd slow mo running through
Yeah,
a field
that
of
was
dandelions.
fucking amazing. That was great. I'm telling you, this is a horrible movie, but I fucking love it. It's so stupid.
I don't.
But I felt touched
I,
by the Shepherd.
What'd you think about the
I
back-
feel like this was on par with The Room or something.
Oof, maybe, yeah,
It's
probably.
great.
What'd you think about the German guy's, the villain's demise, where his head fucking explodes into...
From
That
that
was
little
pretty
pop
good.
gun, yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, from
excellent.
like a 38 caliber gun. And the
That
cop...
was actually like the only part
the
I
cop
cared
is
about.
the cop is there and he saves the day and he's giving her this big monologue instead of calling the fucking help. He's telling her, I was there following him when he threw a head on my car, and he's like telling her whole story. This bitch's face is covered
I
with jelly.
waited just long enough to allow like 10 people to be viciously killed.
Yeah,
and then
so-
I decided to bust in.
So I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's just a shitty thing, but it reminds me of like Peter Jackson if he had no idea what he was doing. You know how Peter Jackson, like his old movie Bad Taste, where you could tell it was like an old school shot on VHS kind of movie. But if he just didn't know what he was doing, that's how
You
Olaf
just
Lindbach was.
deeply insulted me. with
I
that.
know, and I apologize. Peter knows what he's doing, not this guy. Okay, so then
No,
at least
but he was still like, it was a random movie.
Peter Jackson as a 2-year-old could have done better than
why
this
did
movie.
you notice why it kept going on with the story up to the ambulance? Like it didn't need to do that.
Yeah, I was
Like
like, I
you
don't
said,
need
they
any
wanted to-
more of this. I'm good.
It's
They
like-
wanted to get the most out of that rented ambulance.
It was like if
you
you,
said.
that's true. It's like if you watch an episode of Law and Order SVU, they always cut it off before like something interesting happens. Like it just ends. It cuts to black. This like
the
it kept
people
going on.
that run the ambulance company have like a union requirement in their
have to
acting
do one
contract.
shitty
They have
horror
to be
German
featured
movie.
in this many scenes.
You have to do one movie
Exactly.
with a portly director
You
with
must
one earring.
feature our ambulance in at least 4 different scenes.
In at least one movie with a
You were going
director
to
with
use
an
it at
earring.
all.
Where, all right, so let's go into the second story because Peter's talking to his sister, and then
Right.
what's the,
Which I can't
why do
even-
we always have one movie with rape? What-
This one, I
What
just
the
couldn't
fuck?
even understand because the two guys looked like each other. They both had the
They
mustaches.
swore me up. I don't know what's
This
Yeah,
movie-
no, it fucked me up. I couldn't even tell the difference, so I wasn't sure, like, if that was the priest at the end scene or if it wasn't. Like,
No,
I
it
was
wasn't.
very confused.
So, Danny, explain what's the storyline of this one, even though you got confused.
It's basically like a satanic killer priest that rapes and kills people, and then, like, I think that maybe there's zombies. I think something happens where there's another guy that kills
There,
somebody.
you see some muscular German butt cheeks from this old man who's a rapist. It was funny. He sticks out this piece of wood and knocks over this girl on her bicycle and decides to sexually assault her. And he's doing the efficient German sex movement where he's doing push-ups, and he decides to kill a woman. And what we find out, the shocking thing is that he's actually a priest in a small German town. I forgot. It says the name of it, but it takes place in the 50s, right? 1957 or something
I
like
don't
that.
know. Who cares?
Even though, yeah, pretty much. Even though everybody's pretty much dressed modern, and the whole point is that this priest on the down low worships the Devo, and
He worships Devo.
Devo, he's
he
like,
worships
Really good.
Devo, and
Do-do-do-do-do.
it affects his entire life.
and yeah, there's this whole subplot.
We are Devo.
The whole subplot is that actually this one guy who's kind of the town dork, or the town, excuse me, let's say retardo, but that wouldn't be nice. What am I supposed to say?
Beautiful.
There you
No,
go.
that's fine. That's fine. That's good.
And he's, they think that he raped and murdered this girl, so everybody picks on him, while the priest is actually
Which
doing this.
they never really explain why they think he did it.
Because he looks the same. He has
does.
a mustache.
They're
He
like-
looks indistinguishable.
Yeah, but they don't know what the guy looks like.
Danny, didn't it remind you of City of the Living Dead? Like with that guy, Bob, who was like the...
That's a way better movie than this shit. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
But
I know
there's
what
like
you're
the
saying.
guy, the town weirdo, where people just expect him to be... Even though, I don't know if there was DNA testing back then in the 80s, maybe not, or the 90s. I'm sure there was, right?
There was
I don't know.
fingerprints. And
Maybe in
stuff like
Germany
that.
they just didn't give a fucking...
Not in a town like that.
And it's funny, I like how he shot the girl in the forehead, point blank, and they bury her with a huge
Not blank.
hole in her forehead instead of putting like makeup on her forehead.
They just like shove like a quarter into it and like pour some makeup over it.
That's where they put,
They
you
have,
know,
like a,
you know how
they have,
some
like, a car funnel and they just like
on some
pour
funerals when they
colored
put money
makeup
on some
latex into it.
in some countries when they put like money in the casket, they'll put it in her forehead like a piggy bank and shit. Anyway, so the priest is no good. He
And
kills.
then it like after a few years when they have like a hole in the ground too and they bury her, that like funnel that will drop the coins into it, and then like after a few years after she's been all eaten up by maggots, the kids will come up and claim their inheritance and they'll just like smash her skull open.
Like a pinata and stuff, a German pinata.
Sounds about
and all
right.
this money comes.
So anyway, the priest shoots this guy 50 times for no reason. He breaks into somebody's house and he's doing a whole satanic ritual and he does this whole weird thing. He shoots.
Which, may I add, he's wearing like a fucking red hula skirt during.
You know what? It's a German. It's German expressionism, I assume.
I mean, I assume that's the way they do it.
So he goes to this couple's house and he shoots the husband about 50 times, and it's like the worst gun effect ever. It's really poorly done, and he slits
Really
the
does
wife.
sound like the snap thing.
The throat slit of the woman looked pretty convincing, but it was just, but she was dying for a while. It was pretty bad. And I
She
do.
was like trying to breathe. Like you would have died like 10 seconds before even that, and you can't breathe. It looked like she was like actually getting breath in her body, like the way she was doing it.
And what was his flashback? It was like a woman. I guess he was in a cult
There
when
was
he was a
no
child.
point to that flashback.
And he saw like a monster, a demon. He must have caught like his family or somebody doing like a demonic ritual, and he saw a
But
monster come
it
out.
wasn't, though. It was just kind of like, his dad was like, you should be a priest. And he was like, alright. And then there was suddenly a fucking satanic ritual going on in front of him. He was like, alright, I guess I'm gonna be a satanic priest. Just because.
And there's a whole weird plot twist because you think it's gonna lead to that priest getting his comeuppance, but he kills himself in the middle of the
Yep.
movie. And I was like, okay, that's interesting that he's not gonna get dealt with, but the townspeople hire this local thug who beats the Tardo to death. And from there on, that's when we lead. I think
And
the
so
whole
we're like, oh, he's gonna be a zombie now.
and he starts attacking.
Yeah, so that and
Which
then
came
like
out
all
of
those
nowhere.
He
all
attacks the
those like
thug.
laughing carnival zombies. Like what was that about?
Yeah, the thug.
I couldn't even understand. I didn't know if it was the same movie.
The thug gets murdered and he goes to hell. And what do you guys think about this?
Oh, that's what it was. It was hell.
Hell, yes.
Yeah, it was hell for like 15 minutes.
That was the priest in the hell.
I guess so.
No, I thought it was. Oh yeah, it was. It was. I thought it was the thug
No,
that did it.
it was also the guy
Both of
that
them, right?
killed the guy that was falsely accused.
Yeah. So I mean, we're led to 10 minutes. Hell, aka somebody's abandoned apartment complex
For no reason.
where they did all this weird art house murders and shit. Olaf did a couple other horror films where the updated versions with better effects, where you see like an
Were they
updated
good?
version of Hell. Yeah, they're pretty neat looking. They're pretty cool looking. He did this movie called To the Limit, which reminds me of the Scarface song, but it's like it's more death that if happens to real characters as opposed to the over-the-top shit that happens in this film. So it's more like, ooh, that kind of film. But his versions of hell in the latest films look pretty neat. But anyway, this leads back to the guy going to hell, and there's a whole blue tunnel, and I guess the guy, the Tardo, goes to heaven, right? I assume.
All Tardos go
Something
to heaven.
like that.
Something like he
All
goes
Tardos
he
go
goes
to
through the
heaven.
blue mist or whatever. So what happens at the end of this? What is the big shocking finale of this film? Besides, hold on. I remember
What,
seeing
with the Oompa Loompa guy?
that blue tunnel reminded me of this film from way back when, where I saw it as a made-for-TV movie where this woman had a near-death experience. So she saw these 4 figures in the what is that called? When you don't go to heaven yet.
Oh, Limbo?
Limbo, right? She see these four figures. They were obviously mannequins, and then they come back trying to kill her. All 4 of them. It was a pretty awesome movie, but I forget what it's called. Anyway, yeah, that was pointless. I'm drunk. So, what was the twist with the Oompa Loompa guy? What happens?
Do you want to say it? I actually
Who
do
the
know.
fuck's
this
gonna
one, I
watch
think.
this movie?
Do it.
Okay, I think if what I gather is correct, he gets.
I don't know how you
sad,
can
he's
misunderstand
crying.
what happened at the end of this. I'm
Well,
talking
I
about
don't know what he thinks happened.
Peter.
I think he's just sad, and he does heroin, and then he's crying, and he slits his wrist.
Did you forget the part when he stabbed his sister to death? Or?
Yeah, because okay,
Yeah, I
did
guess
he
they must.
did it actually show that he did it?
Yeah.
Did
Did
they?
he?
She's
How? See, the fact that I can miss.
She has her
something like
eyes
that
open. She
shows
has
that this is not a good move.
She has her eyes open and a huge gash in her chest where she got stabbed. How could you guys miss that?
No. But like, I feel like they came back and he was just like,
Or
he was
they don't-
telling the end of the story. And he was like, "All right, we're gonna put you to sleep," and he puts her eyelids down, and I was like, "Oh, he stabbed her."
Yeah, he just killed her after the story. He
Oh,
finished
I
the
didn't
story.
do
He
that.
must have
But I
stabbed her
missed
during the
that
middle of the
part where he
story.
stabbed her.
So he decides to go out and he slits his wrist in a really horrific
Well, we should
manner.
have taken out his fucking parents too.
He slits his wrist and the wrong way too, because he's supposed to slit them diagonal and not like across, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the blood's all spurting up like some kind of red version of a cum shot because it looks like he's beating off. And
Yeah.
then it ends with
You've
him
noticed
falling,
it.
slumping onto the ground and the moon in the sky. And then it
The
shows a
moon
photo.
in the sky.
It's like a big pizza
Like a
pie.
big-
When you stab your
Pie.
sister.
And it shows a
to
photo of the
death.
sister, and that's it. And that's how the movie ends. So, what did you guys think of this film?
Oh my God. I think you know what I thought of it. I'm
But I
seriously.
want to hear what you thought of it.
I think it was terrible. It was just terrible. It wasn't good enough to be bad. It wasn't bad enough to be good. You know, like I would never watch this movie again. Like there are movies like I would watch Killjoy 2 or Leprechaun in Space again.
I
just
would
because
love-
It's like wow, this is so bad, but like
I would love
this-
for us one day to show this with Killjoy 2, like at a screening or something.
I
and
can-
tie
I
You
can
tell me
make that
people wouldn't
happen.
laugh at
tie
this shit?
people in the chair, Clockwork Orange.
I mean, I haven't seen any of the Killjoys, but
Oh
I
my
would
God.
totally make that happen.
But
Oh
I
my
think-
God, yeah,
I think
yeah.
it would be amazing.
Put that on your list too. You got Antichrist.
Killjoy 2 and this.
Yeah.
Screen
And then
back to
what was
back.
the other one? What was
Demon
the other
Knight,
one?
Demon
Demon
Knight.
Knight.
And
Oof.
Demon Knight.
So with
Demon
this,
Knight, great movie. Antichrist, brilliant. Killjoy 2, ridiculously bad.
myself for this movie, I'll give it a 4 out of 10 or a 4 out of 26. Having a battle,
4 out of 20.
having a gang fight with your friends, and a guy does a half crescent kick, spin kick to somebody else in a German group. But as a horrible movie that's funny to watch, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Same thing.
Yeah.
Thea?
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 5 eyeballs shish kebabbed on a
Oh
corkscrew
my God, that was so
out of
stupid.
10.
Danny?
Because it's entertaining enough to watch for sure, and
Yeah.
I probably would stream it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you. Although I don't have the subtitle copy. You gotta find out how to do that.
You guys.
Danny,
I'm-
what
Well,
would you
I'll
give
see.
it?
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, that'd be great. Danny, what do you think?
I'm gonna give this a one out of 19.
Oofa.
1 out of 19. There's just.
There's plenty of stuff in the hell. What about
I
the
can't even recall
Julia?
anything.
anything from Julia? You remind of burning corpses or
Not anything
cutting
good
off the
anyway.
guy's hands?
No, there's nothing like. There's nothing even worthy of mentioning. 1 out of 19.
Jeez.
Fight scene that looks like a bunch of little kids on Valium fighting
that was
with
the
Nerf
worst.
guns.
It really is bad, but out of a bad movie,
It
it's
was
pretty fun
beautiful.
to watch in a group. So, Danny, what's the final word? And thank you to
Lost
Thea
the blood.
from no. Wait, hold on that. Thank
What?
you. Thank you. I'm
Oh.
thinking about the dog. Thank you to Thea from harbor.tumblr.com.
Hey, dog now.
No, I didn't mean that. But Danny, what's the
Dog.
final word?
Bling blang bling.
The horror deconstruction.